I'm a dancer.
On the night of February the 13th, were you working at the Black Bottom Cafe when this murder was committed?
Hi, my name is Evelyn. In 2019, I was a tech consultant based in Chicago, but in 2020, all thanks to Corona, I've been trapped in my hometown in China for an entire year, living with my parents, unable to work, and one by one lost my apartment, relationship, sanity, and also glowed the fuck up. The amount of emphasis on my physical appearance is embarrassing. Okay, I'm not saying I'm objectively beautiful, but this is how I looked in 2019. This is high school. You get the idea. Today, I thought I'd try my best to sum up my life in 2020 in a nutshell because the production company that said they would make it a documentary never got back in touch. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And also because the planning for 2021 video that I was originally gonna upload today can't happen just yet because there's still some things that needed to be figured out. It'll make more sense later. In January, I flew back to China from Chicago because I was miserable on my tech consulting job and decided to get away for 3 weeks to spend some time with my family, kind of last minute. And while that was going on, coronavirus happened in China. All the US consulates in China closed with my visa still stuck in it. So January, I just spent a lot of time with my family and like trying not to think about the whole coronavirus/visa situation because back then we all think, oh, it would go away in February and everything would just go back to normal. In reality though, February came around and nothing got better. It was just a big blur of stress, like what do I do with my apartment? What's gonna happen with my job? Relationship? When will the consulates open? When things started to look like they were not gonna get better anytime soon, I got accepted into a 3-month dive master internship in Thailand thinking I would just, wait it out. But my mom kind of freaked out over the idea of me traveling in the middle of a pandemic, and justifiably so. I didn't go, and instead I spent the entire month of February being nocturnal. Yep, you heard me right. I would go to sleep at like 10-11 a.m. and wake up at 5 or 6 p.m. because I was in so much distress. I didn't want to interact with my parents, and more importantly just didn't want to face reality. And I think right around that time Joanna Cedia posted a video of like being nocturnal for a week, and when I saw that much later I was like, gosh, that could have been my chance of blowing up. March was a weird month. Coronavirus is slowly getting under control in China after the entire nation went into lockdown for like more than a month. But the rest of the world started going in denial. There was this whole debate of wearing a mask versus not wearing a mask. I had to go on unpaid leave from my job, and meanwhile I still had to pay almost $1,500 on rent for my apartment in Chicago. And so in February, in a futile attempt to like try to recover that cost, I put half of my savings in the stock market. And this happened in March. March was also the month that I connected and reconnected with a lot of my friends. Some of them reached out to me because of my YouTube channel, and others I kind of gathered the courage to reach out to because of coronavirus. And a lot of long distance friendships over FaceTime started to mushroom in my life, and that made me feel really loved. To be honest, and regretfully so, I haven't been a person who really valued friendship. I've been lucky enough to have always had friends who I don't feel the pressure to like keep in constant contact with, but every time we do end up getting together or talking, it just feels like we've never spent any time apart. And being a hardcore introvert, I just feel no social pressure to maintain superficial friends. So like friendship wasn't really a big theme in my life until this year, and I feel really lucky that 2020 made me change that, and I'm so grateful for the many friends who've been keeping in touch with me across so many time zones. You know who you are. Around April, things started to feel hopeful, at least in China. Spring was coming around and things started to open up. Weirdly enough, a production company found me through the YouTube channel and asked me to be one of the main storylines in their coronavirus documentary that could potentially be sold to Netflix. So I spent April vlogging about my life and being really honest and vulnerable about my feelings. Thinking back, like I don't know what made me decided to send all of those things to like other people to edit, and also I haven't heard from those people in a long time, so kind of don't know how to feel about that. Also, in April, I made over my room because it was time to finally stop lying to myself about being able to return to Chicago soon by insisting on living out a suitcase for 4 months. I learned that in face of uncertainty, it might be a better idea to create certainty and then deal with changes rather than to continue living in denial. Somehow the apartment makeover video became the most popular video on my channel. Maybe that's a sign or something. I don't know. May was a funny month. We were allowed to go out and about in the city at that point, and I spent a lot of time exploring the city, and by that I mean going to Starbucks and IKEA with my friend Margot. Margot has always been like a sister to me growing up, and quite coincidentally, she fled back from her exchange semester in Milan when coronavirus started to spread there just before the entire city got into lockdown. She was the only friend I had in my hometown this entire year. I still feel to this day that her being trapped in here with me was a gift from the universe, and it's okay and not a super selfish thing to say because I know she feels the same. Being able to spend time in the city also gave me an interesting realization. I haven't seen May in Shenyang for 8 years prior to this, and it made me feel like a tourist and a local at the same time. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is exactly how I'm gonna feel when I go back to Chicago, and it'll actually be a nice feeling. For the very first time, I thought maybe this time in my hometown is worth savoring. And then June came around. A lot has happened in June. The good news was I got my work visa. For about a week, it felt like a precious ticket back to Chicago, given all the travel bans and strict immigration policies. And then quickly it was canceled out by the bad news that Trump banned all entry on work visa until the end of 2020. I don't know how I could have feelings toward a country as if it's a person, but for quite some time I really felt dumped by America. I think if you've ever lived in another country, you would understand this. It's a scary feeling to have your entire life in one place, but if you leave for just a second to visit your family, you might be shut off and not be able to return forever. I mean, I've heard stories. I never thought it would happen to me until it actually did. I missed my life. I missed my boyfriend like crazy. And I didn't know what to do about it. I still don't. At the end of June, my lease ended and I had to move back to my apartment. It was very sentimental. I couldn't be there, of course, and my boyfriend and his friends moved everything out of my apartment and then into a storage unit in Chicago. I feel a weird sense of attachment to my belongings in Chicago. I know that economically it would have been a much better decision if I had just sold everything, but that apartment was my first adult apartment. I really put a lot of heart and a lot of effort into selecting all the furniture and kitchen appliances because I was traveling a lot when I was living there and I just wanted that place to feel like home. And it truly did. So it broke my heart to have to leave like that. Also, I was so lucky to have had a boyfriend and friends to move an entire apartment without me even being there. I'm really, really grateful. At least I'm super lucky to have had that. July was a good month. I went on vacation with Margot. We went to an island in southern China and basically stayed at a Marriott resort for free because I have accumulated a lot of points from traveling for consulting. Margot got some great pictures. I got some pictures and a really bad sunburn. And I got the idea for this channel today, Tapiocapress. All my life I feel like I've never had hobbies, but 2020 made me rediscover my love for reading, and it made me discover that I really love life. I love cooking, making over my apartment, building good habits and a good life, and these are things that I'm excited to make videos about and share with all of you guys on this channel. So I came home with a very good mood and mindset. I thought, you know, it's just a matter of time until the consulates open and I would just continue making my videos and my life would go back to normal. But if you've ever read a good story, you know that's never how it goes.
What did you have to butt in for? I told you I'd get you some money.
In August, things started to go to shit. Margot left and finally went back to her own life in Canada, which I feel really, really happy for her, but at the same time, a little sad for myself because there's still just no update on my life. And Margot leaving was kind of like a bad omen because in August, my work visa was gone. I went to travel with my friend Caroline. We really saw a lot of cool scenery and made really precious memories, but it was only a short distraction from this sickening fear that I wasn't gonna make it back to Chicago anymore. The love of my life was there. What was I supposed to do? How do I get myself back? How do I make it work? I gained the knowledge that the harder you try, the more desperate you are, the faster the thing you care about would slip out of your hands. September came and my love was gone. I locked myself in a room and couldn't bring myself to eat for 3 days. And if you know me, you know that means shit is serious. I tried to find a therapist but ended up venting and crying on the phone to an incredibly nice receptionist for an hour, but ended up giving up on it after being rescheduled for 3 times and eventually got turned away because my insurance couldn't go through. But thank God I was a psychology major and went into full survival mode and went all psychoanalysis, self-help on myself, and so very lucky for me it worked. But in all seriousness, this is where I say don't do this at home. If you are going through a hard time, professional help should always be the first thing you go to. Oh, one good thing I got out of the breakup was that I got a haircut because the boy has always liked my hair long, but I think it looks better this way. The entire month of October, I listened to Exile on repeat, went to the gym, cooked, meditated, and just spent countless hours on the phone with Margot. Special thanks here to Margot's man for letting me be your third wheel all the time. I also downloaded Tinder for the first time in hopes for a sweet, sweet rebound. But after swiping left about 500 times, I finally found this one guy that I was like, okay, maybe I'll check back on him. And I hit the star button to save him. And that's when I learned there's this function called super like, and he messaged me and I was too scared to read it and I deleted Tinder. So that is a work in progress and we will get better in 2021. In November, I listened to Hamilton on repeat, praying that democracy would win. It's funny because at that point it was pretty clear no matter who wins the election, the US consulates wouldn't open anytime soon in China. So it's really like none of my business. But as a result of the full Hamilton immersion, I've also made up my mind that I would make it back to the US no matter what, because that is the place where immigrants can make a difference and I won't throw away my shot. Cheesy, I know. Many people in my life have told me that I am an idealist, but I think at least that makes life a little more interesting and it always makes other people have a more positive outlook. I don't know, that's kind of just how I am. Also in November, a recruiter reached out to me about what seems like a dream job in every possible way in China. I didn't give it too much thought and just interviewed and gave it all I got, which is strange because typically if there's something I really want, I would always sabotage myself in one way or another because the possibility that I might not actually be good enough for something I want really badly is a lot more intimidating. But for some reason that wasn't the case this time. And then December was a tough month because of the excruciating weight on the job, and also it reminds me of the good times I had in Chicago around this time of the year. It reminds me of how long I've been away and how little there's left for me to go back to. But one day in December, Margot asked me if you knew everything that would happen and could choose whether to live 2019 again or to go through with 2020, what would you choose? And I chose 2020 in a heartbeat. And from that moment on, everything kind of felt okay. I heard back from the recruiter. I got a job. And now I have to decide whether to go start a new life in Beijing or wait to go back to Chicago. For a while I thought I'd decided on Beijing, but the idea of starting a new life all by myself is so scary, so I'm still kind of making up my mind, which is why you're seeing this video right now instead of planning for 2021. One thing I am convinced of is no matter what I choose, my life is an adventure so that I have stories to tell on this channel, so please subscribe. Thank you for coming on this bumpy ride of 2020 with me. I really appreciate having you guys, and Happy New Year!